Well, good morning, everybody. I hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Connor. We're walking about together, as always. What's going on? Let me know. Have you checked out the Nancy Frosted interview from yesterday? You might as well do, everybody. If you want all of your up-to-date Leeds United news, make sure you check out what Nancy's saying. It's great to have her on board, and it was fantastic to have that interview with her yesterday. Let us know a fair few things, and it's, a lot of it is from the same script as what I've been telling you guys when it comes down to updates during the Euros. It can be quite scarce, it can be quite difficult to get fundamental links, confidential, sources aren't really a thing. I feel it's just a bit of a barren period, but we're back. But make sure you check that out, everybody. I genuinely recommend it. Today we are venturing to Harrogate, everybody. I've not been there in a long time. I know a lot of you live there as well, so shout out to you. Might bump into a few of you, might not, but we're back here discussing Leeds United anyway. So as you'll see by the title, player wants exit from Ellen Road, and that player rumoured today is Jamie Shackleton. Now, the interesting thing about what do we know? What's the evidence right now? Well, Liam Cooper has a contract on the table, contract offer on the table. Cody Drame has a contract offer on the table, but so does Jamie Shackleton. There's rumours that apparently it's a one-year deal rolling, but Jamie's, for me, he's got to be a bit more ambitious. He's got to think to himself, well, I'm 23, 24 years of age. I'm not getting any football. I won't be getting any football at Leeds. They're going to go out and get a right back. If they keep hold of Archie Gray, that's another player in that position. It's got Sam Byram there as well, and you think to yourself, are you really just going to elongate this sort of, I don't know, this try hard approach at Leeds where it's just not working for you? I think at some point you've got to recognise as an individual, as a young man, that I think it's your time. And I'm really surprised by Leeds in a sense, because I'm thinking to myself, well, I do get it that they just want insurance there, but I'm hoping what Leeds do go and do is actually go and buy a right back, or maybe a centre back who can play right back. We've been speaking about Max Verber several times on the channel. Max Verber, if he was to come back, can play centre back, he can play left back, so you've got a versatile option right there. I'm hoping that we can do that with a centre back as well, who's almost a Swiss Army knife of positions, a la Ben White, so that would be nice. But when you do look at the overall sort of picture when it comes to Jamie Shackleton, I think if he stays at Leeds, it does scream a lack of ambition. I think for his career, that progression has to happen, and there is a club rumoured, and I think I've just mentioned this a little bit earlier, but it is Sheffield United, and maybe does that scream right now about the predicament they're in as well? We're speaking about the three demoted clubs, and we're speaking about them, obviously prospering and getting to that next level again, because that's a likelihood. The statistics are always going to back that up. Sheffield United, Luton and Burnley will be favourites. Leeds will be in the mix, but they'll be favourites as well because they've just come down. They get, the 100% parachute payments, and they've got strong squads. A lot of them do have strong squads, but you look at the makeup of your Burnley, you look at the makeup of your Sheffield Uniteds right now, and the squads are a little bit problematic. You've got Sheffield United and Burnley players out of contract. You've got, obviously, managerial issues when it comes to Burnley, although they have been linked with Van Nistelrooy. Listen, it is one of those things where a company moving on, that could be a massive thing. You're not automatically guaranteed to come back to the Premier League just because you've got a manager with a really big name. I think that the scary thing with Van Nistelrooy is he's got a really good name in the Dutch setup. There's a lot of links there which would enable them to get loan players. But as I was speaking to, when it comes to loan players with Nancy yesterday, it feels like that blend of permanent signings, maybe a couple of free additions and loan signings. It sounds really basic, but it is the absolute way to get promoted out of this league, especially if you do your business well and those loan signings come in and they're dependable, they're reliable, they're effective. They score goals ideally if they're in forward positions, but if they're in defensive positions, they're effective at the back, obviously. But just that consistency is exactly what Leeds United need, and you can definitely get a blend there when it comes to loan players, 100%. There's so much talent, and once again, we were saying this with Nancy yesterday, there's so much talent in and around the Premier League at the minute, and on the continent, of course, that Leeds have got to look at it. Leeds just have to look at that, and yes, that's why I'm not really that worried. I'm really not that worried when it comes down to it, because I feel Miles now has had a significant period in charge. of recruitment. You know, he's been here since January. You've got to feel that he's got a bit of a handle on what's going on. So you hope that Leeds do mix that lone player and you know, some experienced players as well. But they're gonna have to start doing it quickly. The beautiful thing is, as I've mentioned as well, every sort of centre back nowadays from you know 12 years old onwards, because of Pep Guardiola, essentially are ball playing centre backs as well as athletes. So you know, you're going to be okay when it comes to look there. Next bit of news is Diego Llorente. Roma are, according to a few sources, looking at a potential double swoop for Llorente and for Willian Jonso. Now, there's reasons we're speaking, obviously, about Diego Llorente, and it's because Real Betis wanted to bring him in as well, so there's a potential, I won't say a bidding war, it's Diego Llorente, but he's done enough whilst he's been on loan at Roma to perk the ears of a few other clubs, and that's exciting for Leeds, because it means that maybe we'll get a little bit of a greater fee. You doubt it, but who knows? I mean, you're looking at what happened with Mark Rocker, of course, and the pitiful fee that we're going to get back on him, and annoyingly how against the books that's not going to look great. It's going to be more of a negative. But moving on to a different proposition, a different player. Now, this one, you know, we spoke about Willian Jonso before, we spoke about AC Milan, we spoke about Roma. It is looking like Everton's interest, now the Jack Harrison deal's done, suddenly from the blue side is starting to gather a little bit of momentum now. We've seen more and more publications saying Everton are interested, Everton are still keeping an eye on him, Everton are definitely going to move for him, and it's from the blue side as well. You know, a lot of this isn't from the Leeds side, because we know it's very, very in-house at the minute. It's from the blue side. You'll be able to find that across the rumour mill regarding Everton. I think it's always going to be an obvious move for him there. You know, I think the likelihood is that they're going to be starting a little bit more with a McNeil and a Jack Harrison, you know, options. But this is the issue with Willian Jonso. If he goes to the Premier League, he's going to want minutes. For Leeds United, I know it sounds daft, but he was playing week in, week out. He was the star boy for Leeds. So is he going to want to go to Everton and play second fiddle to a McNeil and a Jack Harrison, which in a Sean Dyche system is going to be what happens? And this is why I was questioning earlier, is there going to be, you know, and Nancy was saying as well that she believes that it's going to kick on after the Euros. We're going to see a lot of our big assets gather a lot of interest, and you're expecting it to be that. But Willian Jonso is going to be so interesting, because I genuinely can see him staying at Leeds, because I just wonder if the options, I mean, look at Roma, De Rossi, according to sources, is a big fan. AC Milan, obviously, were the bookies' favourites for many weeks, and Everton have always been there or thereabouts. They're probably the three clubs you're looking at. But the interest is always going to be very, very fascinating with Willian Jonso, because I don't think is he fully committed to Leeds. We saw him change agents. You know, the agent that he was previously with was with Zaniolo, and Zaniolo's got a different club every 2 minutes, and it felt very agent-led. What happened with him last season? Has he changed his mindset a little bit, or did Leeds just say, look, we'll give you one more year, fella. Just give us 1 year, and then we'll see where we're at. But the year didn't go as well as Willian Jonso probably hoped. So there's so many different scenarios here, but I probably do expect Willie to move on. But it's going to be interesting to see how quickly this happens, because now it's starting to circle a little bit with Everton. It's starting to get a little bit more intense when it comes to rumours, and that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. But keep an eye on the Italian clubs. As I've said, you know, AC Milan's signing odds are always in like the top 3 when it comes down to those bookies. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens, everybody. But Jamie Shackleton's the interesting one this morning. Obviously, Llorente, Betis and Roma looking for his signature. And of course, Willian Jonso, that interest is always going to be there. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check out the interview from the other day, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure. Check on the Patreon as well. We've got Generation Leeds over there now across the pond, and all your other bits. See you soon.